What is going on, New York Giants fans? Welcome to another video from Hit Squad Productions. Today we got the 53-man roster breakdown. We're also going to go over a trade that the New York Giants did today that has everybody talking. So we're going to break this down. Now, before I do, I want to encourage everybody to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you have not already. It really does help out the channel. We're trying to get this channel to 400 subscribers. I know I sound like a broken record at this point, but we're going to keep pushing that because I know that we can achieve that. So subscribe to the channel, become a member of the Hit Squad family, and let's get it. So we're going to break down this 53-man roster, and then we're going to go into the trade. Now, off rip, the released players that the New York Giants have, we're going to go over the released and the waived players. So released, we have outside linebacker Ryan Anderson, who I don't think anybody else were really shocked that the New York Giants were going to proceed with cutting Ryan Anderson. But I really had some high hopes for Ryan Anderson. I thought that he'd be a nice depth piece, but we all know that really wasn't going to happen. But yeah, so we also got center Jonathan Harrison, defensive lineman Willie Henry, long snapper Casey Kreider, offensive lineman Chad Slade, offensive lineman Kenny Wiggins. So that's off of the release. Now we're going to go into the waived portion. We have offensive lineman Jackson Barton. We have wide receiver Matt Cole. We have offensive lineman Jake Burton. We have, which I think has everybody very happy to see, linebacker Devontae Downs. That one I think we were all waiting for today for him to get cut. He really doesn't do anything for this team, and I hope I never have to see Devontae Downs on the field, let alone in a New York Giants uniform ever again. So thank you, Dave Gettleman. Thank you, Joe Judge. We got rid of Devontae Downs. We also have tight end Nakia Griffin Stewart. Very interesting here because right now the tight end room is relatively thin. I do 100% expect the New York Giants to look at the waiver wire for not just offensive linemen, but for tight ends as well. Because right now that room is very thin, especially considering that we don't know fully we don't know for certain if Evan Ingram will be a healthy scratch to play week 1. We are hoping and things are looking that way, but 100% expect the New York Giants to go out there and at least pick up a player on the waiver wire to help in the tight end room. We have defensive back Madre Harper. Madre Harper is a good tackler, not the best in coverage, so I wasn't too shocked there, but he would definitely fit in a place like Miami. I could see him in New England. I think a team like the Texans could really benefit for picking up Madre Harper. I think he would fit their scheme very well. But yeah, it happens, We also have tight end Jake Hausman, offensive line Brett Heggie. Not too shocked with Brett Heggie. I didn't really like what I saw on the field personally. So I'm not really too shocked that Brett Heggie was released. We have defensive back Chris Johnson, linebacker Nico Lailos, and that's been a fan favorite. Last year, he seemed to be everywhere where the ball was. He came clutch later in the season for us. Hopefully he could be a practice squad player if he clears waivers. We're going to have to see, but Nico Lailos was a little bit of a shock to me. We also have QB Brian Lewerke, defensive lineman David Moa. Now, David Moa, to me, when we traded B.J. Hill, I said that, and I even said prior, I wouldn't be shocked if we released B.J. Hill and David Moa got some of the starts. And that's not going to happen. And I'm okay with that personally because I think we could all agree that the defensive line is easily our most, not only our strength, but our deepest position on the team that we have. Really that's the strength of this team. So seeing a player like David Moa, unfortunate, definitely had some potential there. It'd be very interesting to see what the New York Giants do. But I think that'll give more playing time to Dexter Lawrence. That's just my personal opinion. But David Moa, sad to see him go, but it happens. We also had defensive back Jordan Peters, running back Sandro Plaxgummer, who had that nice run earlier in the preseason, which kind of reminds me of the run against the Browns with Saquon Barkley, his rookie season. Very nice, has some nice cuts, has some speed to him. I do believe that if he doesn't clear waiver wires, he'd be a nice depth piece on another roster. But I don't see another team really picking up Sandro Plaxgummer. We have defensive lineman Elijah Qualls. The shocker here, which a lot of people were upset with, me personally, no, but I saw a lot of people upset with, that's wide receiver David Sills. I understand why people were upset we got released for David Sills. very consistent, big body wide receiver. But again, the argument always was, what can he do on special teams? And unfortunately, he doesn't provide that. But I also understand the concern that if a player like Kenny Golladay goes down, David Sills fits that. What the New York Giants are looking to do with Kenny Golladay, they could easily do that with David Sills. Obviously, they're not the same level of talent, but David Sills, you could consider him, the knockoff brand Kenny Golladay. We've seen that he's traveled with Daniel Jones through the offseason. Him and Daniel Jones have formed that connection. So definitely very interesting to see that the New York Giants have released him. I don't see him clearing waiver-wise when you have teams like the Saints, you have teams like the Eagles, you have teams like Chicago that really need wide receiver help. So I think that David Sills is a good player, but sad to see him go. So I think that gives more room for players like Dante Pettis, to really get a place on this roster, same with John Ross and CJ Board. Now, we also released Damian Willis, who had that nice touchdown grab off Mike Glennon against the Patriots. Hopefully, he can make it onto the practice squad. Now, this shouldn't really be a shock to anybody, but the New York Giants have played Aaron Robinson on the reserve/pup list. Aaron Robinson hasn't seen the field. He's really regarded as a nice nickel corner. He could do a little on the outside. Great man-to-man corner. So it kind of sucks to see him not on the field, but I think that's going to really help Darnay Holmes, players like Julian Love in the slot. So unfortunate. You really want all your players out there, but I hope that Aaron Robinson can get on the field as soon as possible. Now, the Giants did place 3 players on IR. That's wide receiver Alex Bachman, who was also released, offensive lineman Ted Larson, and wide receiver Austin Mack. Austin Mack was a player last year that some Giants fans had hope for. He looked pretty decent against Washington, but didn't really see him as a starter on this team, especially with the talent that we have now at the wide receiver position. But, looking at it, I don't really think outside of maybe David Sills, maybe David Moa, but really David Sills, you can't be upset with any of these releases. Obviously, this isn't going to be the final, 53-man roster. The Giants will go out there and address more positions of need as the waiver wire really continues. Now, we're also going to break down the trade that happened today between the New York Giants and the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the Giants traded their 4th-round pick in the 2022 draft to the Baltimore Ravens for guard Ben Bredeson. Now, with that, we received Ben Bredeson, a 2022 5th-round pick, and a 2023 7th-round pick. Now, I had someone, pretty much say, you don't know if this player is good. You don't know if this player is bad. Every offensive lineman we pick up is trash. And while I understand the argument, you really can't be upset at this. You get a player at a position of need that has some upside, and you get 2 picks. You get a 2022 5th-round pick and a 2023 7th-round pick. We know right now, at least so far with how Joe Judge and Dave Gettleman have gone about the draft, we've been able to find some talent in the later rounds, such as Carter Coughlin, Tay Crowder, just to give an example, but you really can't complain. Like I said, you get a position of need as well as 2 picks, more than what you had before, especially in 2022 where we have a lot of draft picks, man. So can't really complain about this. Now, I want to do more research on Ben, but from the little research that I have done, he seems like a pretty good run defender, decent in pass coverage, but honestly, with the upside that he has, I know that there was some Giants fans that had him projected going to us in that draft, but at the same time, he wasn't really on my radar. But you really can't make a lot of Giants fans happy. It's like they want us to address the offensive line. The Giants go address the offensive line. Then it's, why did you address the offensive line? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? It's unbelievable. Giants fans really need to pump the brakes a little bit. The Giants are trying to do everything that they can. They're not done with this roster at all. We expect more trades. This has been the most trades that I've seen the New York Giants done in quite some time, if I'm being honest with you. Now, one name I did forget to mention that was released was running back Corey Clement. Now, Corey Clement, I had him penciled in to make the roster, actually. I thought the New York Giants could use him in different ways. They can use him in the Dion Lewis role, but it's not going to happen. I actually preferred him over Gary Brightwell, who made the roster, but Hey, it happens, man. I mean, like I said, I thought Corey Clement was the better back here, but obviously not. Corey Clement will be fine on another team, but hey, it's really what we're looking at. Now, we're going to look at the roster so far, at least, that the New York Giants have. Now, we're going to be going in with two quarterbacks, obviously, Daniel Jones and Mike Glennon. With running backs, we have Saquon Barkley, Devontae Booker, Gary Brightwell, Colin Gillespie, and Elijah Penny. So going in with five backs, really, Elijah Penny, he's versatile. We all know that he's a fullback, but he's versatile. We saw him get more snaps along with Gary Brightwell compared to Corey Clement, at least. Not really upset here. I actually like Elijah Penny. Colin Gillespie, I was a little shocked with, maybe on some special team reasons. But I see that we're going to be going in with two fullbacks. Kind of reminds me of the Patriot way. I'm going to be honest with you, but can't really complain there. Now, if we're looking at the defensive line, we got Austin Johnson, Raymond Johnson III, which I'm very happy to see him on there. Hard worker, great in the run. He could get to the quarterback, man. I mean, I think that putting him as a nice depth piece behind Austin Johnson and Dexter Lawrence, you can't complain there. That is a nice key piece to the defensive line. And honestly, if you're asking me if I had to choose between him or David Moa, I'm choosing Raymond Johnson any day. Now, along with Raymond Johnson, we have Dexter Lawrence, Danny Shelton, and Leonard Williams. No shock there. Looking at the linebackers, we got Cam Brown, Lorenzo Carter, Carter Coughlin, Tay Crowder, Trent Harris has been a standout with the New York Giants. In camp during the preseason, he has looked like a solid linebacker for us. I'm very interested to see what Patrick Graham and how Patrick Graham is going to use Trent Harris, because that dude can get to the quarterback. We also have Blake Martinez, Azeez Ojulari, Reggie Ragland, Ellerson Smith, O'Shane Zimenez. Not too shocked there. We hope to see Ellerson Smith on the field. Hasn't really done anything in camp. Hasn't really done anything in the preseason because he's been injured. So hopefully we get to see him on the field at some point. But that's what we're looking like at the linebacker position. Now looking at wide receivers, we have Kadarius Toney, Darius Slayton, Sterling Shepard, John Ross, Dante Pettis, Kenny Galladay, and C.J. Board. C.J. Board, I think he really carved out his edge due to the fact that he's versatile, right? He could be on special teams compared to David Sills. He could be in the slot, though he's not a slot guy. He could be put on the outside. Not really upset with it. I know the Sills army is going a little crazy, but C.J. Board made the roster, and we're just going to have to live with it. Now, tight ends, like I said, it's a very thin room. We got Caden Smith, Kyle Rudolph, and Evan Ingram. 100 expect the New York Giants to go out there and address the tight end position, because we do need that in our room. Now, looking at the defensive backs, we got Sam Beal, who I was very shocked to see make the roster. I know that he plays good when on our run defense, but outside of that, he's not really that good of a player, especially on the outside. I don't want to see Sam Beal on the field. I would much rather see Rodarius Williams on the field. I just have no faith in Sam Beal, but that's just me being honest. We also have James Bradbury, Kean Crossan, Darnay Holmes, Adoree Jackson, Josh Jackson, Julian Love, Xavier McKinney, Jabril Peppers, Logan Ryan, and of course, Rodarius Williams. No shocker there. On the offensive line, hey, we're going with 8. We got Ben Bredeson, Nick Gates, Will Hernandez, Shane Lemieux, Matt Parrott, Billy Price, Nate Solder, and Andrew Thomas. No shock there. And obviously with special teams, Riley Dixon and Graham Gano. So that's going to wrap it up here. Obviously, this roster is not done. Expect the New York Giants to go out there, either make some more trades or look at the waiver wire for the offensive line, tight end position as well. We're going to see a lot of different changes, I'm telling you guys. But again, if you made it this far, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you guys in the next video.